My name is Elizabeth Ott, and I'm the Interim Associate University Librarian for Special Collections here at Wilson Library. And we've come to the end of all of our panels for the day. And so I have the pleasure of introducing you to our final speaker, Dr. Blair L.M. Kelley. But before I do that, I want to say just a few more words of thanks. Thank you to each and every one of our panelists for sharing your insights and your research with us here today. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the collections that I spend all day with, connections across collections I didn't know were there, things about the city that I live in that I didn't know. And I hope you all learned something too. Thank you to our doctoral fellowship reviewers. So before we got to this point, we ran a whole fellowship program, and you can find those reviewers in the acknowledgement section of your program. All of those folks volunteered their time to help us select fellows to come and form part of our research community here at Wilson Library, and they have become part of a closer knit community with us as well. Thank you to the Symposium Planning Committee, especially Allison Barnett, Matt Turry, Nadia Clifton, and Katie Fanfani. The four of you are just irreplaceable. You've done so much to make today a success. Thank you to the Center for the American South, who are hosting a reception after we hear our closing remarks. I invite you to come join us at the Love House for that reception. But thank you also for your ongoing partnership with the libraries to promote and amplify UNC as a leader in Southern Studies. And I also want to thank the Southern Futures Initiative for their partnership with Wilson Library on a variety of programs as well. Thank you to the Watson Brown Foundation for their generous support of the Southern Studies Doctoral Fellowship Program and their support of this symposium. And finally, I want to say thank you to someone who I have not heard be thanked yet at all today, and that is Maria Estorino, Vice Provost for the Libraries. Many of us know that this fellowship program would not exist without her vision and support. She really launched this fellowship program and had the idea of having this symposium to bring us all back here today. So thank you for having the idea and pushing us to achieve it. And Maria, I hope you're as excited as I am to see this all come together so magnificently today. Okay. So here with us this afternoon to provide reflections and closing remarks is Dr. Blair Kelley. Dr. Kelley is the Joel R. Williamson Distinguished Professor of Southern Studies here at UNC-Chapel Hill. And I don't know if you've heard, but those distinguished professorships, they're getting thin on the ground, so that's a big achievement. And she is the director of the Center for the Study of the American South and the co-director of the Southern Futures Initiative. An award-winning scholar, speaker, and public historian, Dr. Kelley's work focuses on the African-American experience. Her first book, Right to Ride, Streetcar Boycotts and the African-American Citizenship, from UNC Press, chronicles the little-known Black men and women who protested the passage of laws segregating trains and streetcars at the turn of the 20th century. This book won the 2010 Letitia Woods Brown Memorial Book Prize from the Association of Black Women Historians. Her most recent book, Black Folk, The Roots of the Black Working Class by Liveright, explores the question, what does it mean to be Black and working class? Black Folk is the recipient of the 2020 Creative Nonfiction Grant by the Whiting Foundation and the 2022-2023 John Hope Franklin NEH Fellowship by the National Humanities Center. We're so lucky to have Dr. Kelley here at Carolina and here with us today to provide us with final thoughts. So please join me in welcoming Blair Kelley to the stage.
Thanks, everyone. If this was a class, I would tell you all to move forward. But since it's not, I'll let you stay where you are. I'm just so honored and thankful to be here today. The library is CSAS's, the Center for the Study of the American South's finest partner on this campus. And we are always thankful for your wisdom, your leadership, your vision, and your friendship as we do our projects, as we inundate you with materials, as we come up with new ideas, and that will not change. We are really thrilled to be in partnership with you in so many ways, in so many spaces. So thank you for having me today. As a person who's lived in the Triangle, have been in so many wonderful talks in this very room. Have memories of Glenda Gilmore and all kinds of amazing scholars on this stage. And so I'm thankful to be in this room and to speak to you all today. I won't be long because you've been listening all day. And so I'm pretty sure everybody wants to get to the reception at the Love House sooner rather than later. But I want to take this moment to recognize the work that the Wilson Library Fellows Program is doing in this moment. This is a very unique moment for history. It's a moment when scholarship of all kinds is contested. Things that we take for granted as true, researchable, uncontested, are suddenly being contested. Very simple facts, simple ideas, books themselves are under fire. And so the work of this program in this moment has taken on a different tenor. To say that we are researching our past, to take advantage of the archive, to study, to think, to reflect, to write new ideas, to call on the archive of the future is now movement work. It's now suddenly become the stuff that we need to survive. And so I'm thankful for the work that the Wilson Fellows Program is doing in making sure that scholars of all walks of life have access. And I'm encouraged to hear that this is a beginning and not an end. So in this moment when difficult history is contested, I was thankful to see the content that we saw today, the scholars that we saw today, the questions that we saw today. I'm sure some of them made folks uncomfortable, but I think this discomfort is part of the learning process. I think we don't grow as a region and as a country if we don't occasionally get uncomfortable. And that discomfort has to continue in how we think about the future, how we think as spaces that are collecting stories right now. As we are building the archive of the future, we can't shy away from those hard subjects and from those difficult things that might make some people uncomfortable. As we in this generation think about our research and writing and building that archive, let's reflect with intentionality. I love that word, intentionality about what we don't see in today's archive, the silences that we wish weren't there, the questions that we wish we could answer with an archive about a past that we are now researching as scholars. How are we addressing those silences going forward? What work are we doing both in library space and outside of library space to make tomorrow's our archive a richer and better place than the one we already have? There's so many things that I wish I could ask the folks I write about in my last book, in my first book especially. There's so many questions I wish I could sit with, so many meetings I wish I could be in, so many times I could ask why they chose to do something or made a decision that surprised me. I wanted to see more about community, about connection, about those understandings that they had of one another. I wanted to see their disagreements more. I wanted to understand what they debated, what was left on the cutting room floor in terms of ideas. And so as we do our work as scholars, as we do our work in communities, as we partner with our communities that we're researching, make sure to ask and catalog those questions and answers. That rich archive of this moment, we want to leave to our future. So for me personally, this moment demands that I stand up to think about the way in which my scholarship is addressing a future and not just a past. So I am thinking about building my own archive around the question of Black work. So many stories are pouring forward to me about people's ancestors, but also about their present and about the needs of our present. And so what am I doing to make sure that I am leaving something better and richer and more informed than the already rich things that I discovered and found and read against the grain? Um, how are we looking for folks who are doing work often without recognition? How are we imagining that we can intervene in making an archive broad enough to capture these stories for research tomorrow? I was also so excited to see the subject matters at play in today's conversation and this 2-day period's conversation. Um, Folks in this collective are chronicling the current climate catastrophe in interesting ways. They're reading it against the past in really powerful ways that are necessary for us to think about. Often we think of climate as a new subject, as a thing that we in our generation, or maybe just the generation before us, finally came around to addressing. But when we look in the archive, we find that no, we're late to the game. Folks have been talking about this and thinking about this for a long time. So it's encouraging to see scholars who are addressing that kind of work. I'm also excited to see folks who are working on the question of coalition building over time and capturing coalitions that are surprising to some folks and unexpected. That work is necessary in our present. So imagine what it looked like in the past. What are we doing to build those coalitions, and how we're researching and doing scholarship? These scholars are calling on us to think about that. So often we are very siloed in the ways in which we write and think and read. We're not reading just across the hall oftentimes, but we have to do so if we really want to build a richer understanding of a present. I'm also thrilled to see that there was a much more broad and inclusive version of what the South is. If we don't chronicle the everyday lives of Latinx Southerners, if we're not thinking about Indigenous Southerners, if we're not thinking about Asian American Southerners, we're failing to understand this tapestry that the South has been and continues to be. We're reducing it to the South's biggest problem of Black and white, and failing to understand the intersections of so many others in that longer and larger story. So the scholars today who are doing that work are doing such important work. For others, this is about studying the injustice within the justice system, as we call it, really carefully probing what we need to ask about the things we take for granted. The systems already in place, the systems we are currently part of, have historical roots, oftentimes ones we aren't proud of, and when we really discover what happened. And so, really studying that is an important call on all of us today. For others, this is a study of diseases past and present and the undue burden borne by the dispossessed throughout our time and to our own moment. This is such an important thing to study. Boy, I think we all figured that out pretty quickly. But again, it's calling on us not to lose the stories of those in this generation who bore the COVID crisis. That kind of scholarship is a reminder of that necessity and that call on us. For others, the call is to continue studying the things that we've ignored, or to look again at things we think we've covered pretty well in the past, but really are really just scratching the surface. I'm always thrilled to see new scholarship on the condition of enslavement. It's such powerful work, and important work when we study folks as people in communities. And that rich scholarship was reflected here. So for me, this moment is a reminder that we must continue to ground our work in this rich archive of our past. In this moment, when fact and record are contested, we have to push back. This is our political call on this time. We have to be intentional. We have to build a richer understanding of our past for a new generation. And I think we're also called on to listen to young people today. I'm so excited to be part of the Southern Futures group on campus and calling on our undergraduates to think about what their South will be, to ask them to chronicle, to ask them to look into their own communities. And we're already getting back things that are unexpected, things that are rich, things that are powerful, interventions in the way that we can see the South. So young people have to be at the heart of this work, of this intentional work. I'm thankful to have the opportunity to be in leadership in such a tough moment. When I study Black history as a student of Black history, there are no moments that are not tough. I can't feel sorry for myself. And if I look back at the folks that I have studied and written about, I can't feel worn down or beleaguered or frustrated or afraid if I'm looking at at the context of where my field comes from. And so, at a moment we are celebrating anniversaries all over campus. The CSAS, Southern Futures, Southern Cultures, and the Southern Oral History Project are celebrating an anniversary next year, our 30th and 50th anniversaries. And so for me, it's a call to figure out what happens in the next 50 years, how we can be brave in this moment, how we can speak back to those who would want it to wrap up or to be silent. Um, and so I'm thrilled to be asked to close this moment because I think it is the beginning of something really important. And I am encouraged by the work in front of you all and the call on all of our lives in this moment. So I am thrilled to be part of this conversation and thrilled to be part of what we can build together as a community of scholars. So please do think of us as a campus, us as an institution, us as partners in this institution when you are thinking about your work, your research, your scholarship, both as a place to come and find the things that you're looking for, but also a place to build the things you want to see in the future. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. I'll release you into the world. I do hope that you'll join us at the Love House for a reception. The address and directions are in your program right here. And I hope to see you there and share some more time talking about the program today and reflecting on everything that we've learned. Thank you.